In today's news, Fahie pleads not guilty to drugs and money laundering charges, and the Social Development Department to be solely responsible for assistance grants. Elected officials stripped, and the BVI Football Association to hold meeting with women's team to address concerns. And we also see 10 students advancing in the National Spelling Bee competition. Well, viewers, these and more stories when 284 News returns.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What do you really? Hey, this ain't like you know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Well, welcome everyone. It's Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. I'm Kamal Haynes, coming to you live from the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Well, a happy Wednesday to one and all, and thank you so much for joining us. Well, we start today's newscast with the latest from the United States federal courts, where former Premier Andrew Fahie has pleaded not guilty to his 3 charges of conspiracy to import a controlled substance, conspiracy to engage in money laundering, and attempted money laundering. Well, Fahie's arraignment was held today before a U.S. federal court in Miami, where he was required to enter his plea on the 3 charges. While he is jointly charged with Mrs. Olivine Maynard, who at the time of her arrest was the managing director of the BVIFA Ports Authority, and her son Kadeem Maynard. But the verdict was confirmed by Fahie's attorney, Teresa Van Vliet, who reportedly confirmed the plea to international media house Reuters. Well, just yesterday, Fahie was granted a bond in the sum of $1 million by U.S. District Judge Kathleen Williams. While she indicated that the former premier must first prove that the money for his bail is from a legitimate source before being released from custody. Well, Judge Williams granted Fahie a $500,000 personal surety bond in addition to the $500,000 corporate surety bond, which was issued by federal court judge Alicia Ortazo-Reyes earlier this month. But the judge said that the personal surety bond must be co-signed by Fahie, his daughters, and a friend, adding that he will be required to wear a GPS device so he can be monitored at all times. In addition, Judge Williams also ordered that Fahie's daughters and wife will have to surrender their passports, adding that his attorney Van Vliet can only visit him at the daughter's home in southwest Miami-Dade County. Well, the U.S. prosecutors had argued that Fahie was a flight risk and a danger to the community, stating that his maximum sentence, if convicted, coupled with the corruption allegations, increased the likelihood of the former premier fleeing the United States. A recent court documents revealed that the trio is facing a maximum of life in prison if convicted on a charge of conspiracy to import a controlled substance, and 2 maximum sentences of 20 years each if convicted for conspiracy to engage in money laundering and attempted money laundering. Well, viewers, more to come on this developing story. Well, moving on, viewers, where the Social Development Department will be solely responsible for the distribution of assistance grants, a change that removes elected representatives and ministries from providing such services. Well, viewers, this decision follows recommendation B7 from the Commission of Inquiry report, where Commissioner Sir Gary Hickenbottom recommended a total overhaul of the BVI welfare benefits and grant systems, including House of Assembly members' assistance grants and government ministries' assistance grants. Well, he advised that the new system move towards an open, transparent, and single system of benefits based on clearly expressed and published criteria without unnecessary discretionary powers. While speaking on the subject on Tuesday, Premier and Minister of Finance Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley said that his national unity government will be moving away from the previous hybrid system to one which is managed by the Social Development Department.
We must also address the issue of assistance grants. As you know, for many years, we have operated a hybrid social assistance system here in the territory. The public assistance program ran by the Social Development Department has operated alongside the House of Assembly Assistant Grants Program and the provision of ministry assistance grants. While these arrangements were originally established to assist persons in need in our communities, the socio-economic challenges of the territory have grown beyond the ability of the current system to address. A different, more effective approach is needed, one that is more structured, targeted, and actually gets to the root cause of the problems that persons face so that long-term solutions can be found, especially those of a socio-economic nature. We are at the stage where we must transition away from the current hybrid social assistance system to a central, standardized institutional system of support through which persons who genuinely need social assistance can receive it. The Social Development Department will be the primary vehicle through which this happens, but with added capacity and resources.
Well, Premier Wheatley said that the transition has already commenced, adding that persons who are presently receiving benefits through the current hybrid system will not be affected.
We have initiated this transition, which will be led by Honorable Marlon Penn, Minister responsible for social development, who will be updating the public further in due course. The Government of National Unity will ensure that as this transition takes place, persons currently receiving critical social assistance will not be adversely affected by the changes being made. I also want to reassure you and anyone who wishes to apply for social assistance in the future that every effort will be made to maintain your confidentiality under the new system. To be clear, we are transitioning away from your elected representatives and ministries providing social assistance to this function being done primarily by the Social Development Department. We will ensure that those in need, persons with disabilities, our golden gems, and others will not suffer while the new system is being formulated and implemented.
While the Premier also said that his government's next area of focus will be election reform.
Reform is not simply about what the COI report recommends. It is truly about what we as a society want for ourselves. I want better for us, and I know you desire the same. We have a collective responsibility to strengthen and improve our democracy. That is why the approach of the Government of National Unity is to go further in some instances than the COI report recommendations call for. For example, we'll be proceeding with election reform to address issues such as campaign finance to ensure the integrity of the electoral process is as high as humanly possible.
Well, viewers, Premier Wheatley said a further update on election reform will be forthcoming very soon. Well, up next, the BVI Football Association to hold meeting with the women's team to address concerns. And 10 students advanced in the National Spelling Bee competition. Well, these and more stories when 284 News returns.
The beautiful Virgin Islands, or nature's little secret as some prefer, where the weather stays warm and the drinks stay cold, where men in wigs get their lawyer bills paid by governments and governments lose planes, where walls are built and prisoners escape. You vacation where we suffer. BVI love.
You value traditions. Today. You value music. You value education. Family.
I love you.
Service.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.
There's a reason you get up on a morning. A reason you pick yourself up, start the day. Maybe it's sheer grit. Maybe it's your ethics. Maybe it's because you know people like you are waiting. For people just like you. We all have our reasons, And for Republic Bank, that reason is you. Every little thing, every big thing. It's all about making a difference in your life. Because after 182 years, if it's one thing we're sure about, is that the difference is you. We're here to help.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, senior members of the BVI Football Association will be holding a meeting with players from the BVI National Women's Football Team to address several concerns which were raised by the team following the recently concluded CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. Well, I was there to report on this story. Take a listen. Well, members from the women's national team penned a letter to the BVI Football Association on April 24th, citing several concerns they had after suffering heavy defeats during the qualifiers, while they warned that they will not be representing the BVI any longer, stating, and I quote, "as long as the current coaching and management staff remain," end quote. Well, the letter read, and I quote, "the majority of the players who joined us from the United Kingdom and the local BVI members have agreed on this statement as we seek to have our concerns addressed," end quote. Well, according to the letter, the team believes that the women's football team is not taken as seriously as the men's in terms of having professional coaches, physiotherapists, medical physicians, managers, and goalkeeper coaches. As it pertains to a physiotherapist, the women said that they were never provided one and felt that several injuries on the team would have been properly treated during the tournament had one been made available. But the players also felt that the time management of the managers was very poor, stating that they portrayed poor communication and lacked professionalism. While they said, and I quote, "Well, we say this because there were moments during and immediately after games when players made mistakes or had errors, and we were terribly criticized instead of advancing constructive criticism and strategizing for a better outcome. We felt discouraged and unmotivated as we were so harshly criticized that we did not want to participate in any further activities." While they added, "when players approached the coaches about their treatment of them, our concerns were summarily dismissed. Players felt emotionally distraught and belittled," end quote. Well, the women also expressed a preference for having a female medical practitioner as opposed to a male. Well, the team also pointed out their concerns about the head coach and assistant, stating that they either needed vast improvements or to be replaced. They said, and I quote, "after game revision was never conducted. We never watched the replay of our games as a team. There were no lessons learned from the coaches' points of view of what could have been done better or strategy revisions." But they added, well, following immediate post-game scolding, coaches, technical director, and management avoided players after games. They continued, players would train in one position for months with the expectation to play in that position, only to be told on game day to play a completely different position for which they had not been trained, end quote. But the team also expressed concerns regarding management, stating that management either needed drastic improvements or to be replaced. They said communication between the management and coaches was poor, and as a result, players had to suffer from the confusion. The women stated, and I quote, "the players have suffered emotional distress and tension between the players as a team and with the coaches. We deserve a better community of respectful management and coaches to grow ourselves as players representing the BVI," end quote. Well, following the receipt of the letter, 284 News reached out to the president of the BVI Football Association, Mr. Andy Bickerton, who at the time was out of the territory and unaware of the letter. However, after following up with President Bickerton at a subsequent date, he confirmed that he was later made aware of the letter and that the association had scheduled a time period in early June to have a meeting with the women's team to address the concerns.
Yeah, I'm aware of it now because I was away in England, as you know. So the technical director of the BVIFA had in fact been in communication with one of those girls, Miss Creaky, and he'd actually set up a meeting in the first 2 days of July. So we were surprised that they actually said on air that there'd be no communication from the FA except, one response just saying that their document had been received. But so the FA has set up a meeting in the first 2 or 3 days of June. I think the date has to be confirmed when the technical director gets here. And then those issues will be addressed directly with the ladies.
Well, viewers, that meeting has been set for June 2nd, 2022. I'm Kamal Haynes reporting for 284 News. Well, moving on, viewers, where earlier today, primary school students from throughout the territory competed in the preliminary round of the National Spelling Bee competition. Well, after 3 hours of impressive spelling, only 10 students garnered enough points to advance. Take a look.
And so we have 10 students who will be moving to the finals next week. And their names are Zaved Matthias from Alexandrina Maduro Primary School, Jador Turnbull Diggins from the Althea Scatliff Primary School, Christian Roberts from the St. George's Primary School, Leah Samuel from the Valley Day School on Virgin Gorda, Antonio Oliver from the Willard Wheatley Primary School, Collis Fraser from the Willard Wheatley Primary School, Doreen Olatunji from the Leonora Delville Primary School, Orissa Thomas from St. George's Primary School, Joy Obinaya from the Valley Day School, and Kay Robinson from the Althea Scatliff Primary School.
Well, viewers, these 10 students will compete in the finals to be held next week. While Minister for Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Fisheries and Agriculture, Honorable Shari B. De Castro, managed to stop by the competition following cabinet, and she offered some very brief remarks and congratulated the students.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please accept my apologies. We had cabinet this morning, so we just finished and I was able to stop by. So apologies for my tardiness, but I heard it was a successful day, and I just want to extend congratulations to all of you for doing a great job. We know that we have brilliant students within our school system, and we appreciate you taking advantage of opportunities like this where you're able to showcase all the amazing things that you're learning and your academic achievements within school. So I just want to recognize all of you here today and just request of you to continue doing an excellent job and taking advantage of opportunities just like this to showcase your skills to the territory. So thank you, keep up the great work, and I wish you a successful end of the Trinity term.
Well, viewers, that final round will be highly anticipated throughout the territory after the display of spelling skills shown at the competition today. We'll just take a look at some of the highlights from today's top spellers.
Your word is gestation. Gestation.
Can I have the definition, please?
The development of something over a period of time.
Gestation. Gestation. Gestation.
That is correct.
Your word is synthesizer. Synthesizer.
Can I have the definition, please?
An electronic machine for producing different sounds. Synthesizers are used as musical instruments, especially for copying the sounds of other instruments and for copying speech sounds.
May you repeat the word, please?
Synthesizer.
Synthesizer. Synthesizer.
That is correct.
Your word is vicinity. Vicinity.
Vicinity. VICINITY. Vicinity.
That is correct.
Your word is symmetry. Symmetry.
Can I have the meaning, please?
The exact match in size and shape between two halves, parts, or sides of something. The quality of being very similar or equal.
Symmetry. SYMMETRY. Symmetry.
That is correct.
Well, viewers, up next, Anegada resident and businessman voices concerns and the United States Virgin Islands travel portal to be discontinued. Well, we get to those two stories after a word from our sponsors.
Hello?
Wait, you had a long time. You don't say you were sick? What happened to over the rehearsal?
No, babe. I'm actually watching the news right now. Take a listen.
Topping our newscast today, UFOs seen around Tortola Pier Park.
And District 3 residents outraged over no water supply. They simply cannot bathe. These and more stories when 284 News returns.
All right, babe, just get some rest, take 2 Advil, and I'll see you later. Bye.
Okay, honey. I see you later. I love you.
It's clear to see that Coconut Lounge is a place to be, the coolest cocktail lounge in the British Virgin Islands. A lounge like no other, with welcoming, professional service, and a breathtaking ambiance. Not forgetting a diverse selection of wines, beers, and signature cocktails. Cozy, comfortable, contemporary. Coconut Lounge at Tortola Pier Park. Visit us today. Brilliant Hands and Minds Tutoring Services. One-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.
The wait is over! CCT Fire is here! Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire, bring it home and upgrade today.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, the people of Anegada have long voiced their concerns on not only national matters, but matters pertaining to the well-being of themselves and generations to come. Well, Anegadians have been termed some of the most fearless and resilient of these Virgin Islands. Well, as a sister island of these Virgin Islands, conversations continue relating to representation and the quest for Anegada to be recognized as its own district. Well, recently, businessman and Anegadan Kelvin Kelly Faulkner lent his voice to the conversation in an exclusive interview with our Ron Grant. Well, his mission, he says, is to have Anegada stand on its own and in partnership with other sister islands so that it is developed into a self-sustaining, thriving economy. Well, he not only voiced his concerns, but offered solutions for his beloved island. Take a look.
The main situation is just the lack of appreciation for Anegadians as customers. That's the main thing. There's seniors that transit back and forth to Tortola so they could do their groceries, their banking, stuff like that, and still have to pay full charge. Ferry's $50 round trip, then you have to pay $5 per box, and then on top of that, you still got to catch taxi, you still got to go through your day. And keep in mind, we only have about maybe 4 hours of time to use within our day. So the issue is, if we could be able to get a ferry that's adequate on the time, we should be efficient enough to say we shouldn't have any problems for the time. But we have to get an understanding for sure on the pricing of the boxes. Businesses bring in loads of cargo. So when they're bringing in loads of cargo for their establishment, and it's understood that you could charge an adequate amount that you seem fit. But when it comes to the local household, say a small family's traveling to Tortola to do some grocery shopping and banking, they're even coming out of pocket even more so for, let's say, a case of water. I purchased a case of water that cost $4 to $5. Ferry adds $5 on top of that. I remember a conversation where a lady had a box of cereal with the double bags, and she was charged $5 for that box. So there has to be some kind of understanding and conversation that the ferry service providers could be a little bit more conscious about what they do and how they do things and how they treat our local Anegadians, which of course is also their part of their livelihood, no matter if they're subsidized.
Well, Faulkner also spoke about resident quests to have Anegada recognized as its own district and have its own representative.
For sure, I hear a lot of conversation of it. I cannot tell you if it's a high percent or the majority, but I know for sure it's a lot of folks that understands the benefits that could come if we had a representative and a district for our own. For example, I mentioned we have the Anegada Land Committee. In order for projects and progress to happen in Anegada, the ministers have to have conversations and meetings with the land committee, which the land committee would have conversations and meetings with the people of Anegada to understand what they can do to help the situation and make it happen. So if we have somebody that's there from Anegada, we the people put them in there to be able to represent us. We would have a person to then push in front, lead the way, and make sure that working along with the lands committee, progression could happen in a steadily way that the people would be happy.
Well, viewers, Mr. Faulkner did not leave without encouraging his fellow Anegadians to stick together.
Say the local community end up in a conversation in the chat where there was an altercation at the school where a teacher got injured or hurt by trying to break the fight, right? So a conversation came up where the school needs at least a security guard to just help, a manly thing to help, be able to part the kids and keep things at bay, right? And that hasn't been heard, let me say that. But there's a security guard at the local clinic, at the Romelia Smith Clinic. So if we have a security guard at the clinic, which is he's really not securing anything really, because if you're going to the clinic, you're sick, you're not really trying to be disorderly, right?
Understood.
You would think they would at least put that security guard by the school. But now if you have a representative that is on the island that can see these matters and be there and be in tune to the matters, so simple as that could not happen,
I understand the concerns. I want to talk about physical living conditions of Anegadians. Of course, that comes under road development, and you talked about land distribution. I want to go back to that. Where are Anegadians as it pertains to the proper land distribution to residents?
Well, again, it's like a campaign promise, I like to say.
Well, viewers, to catch that full interview, it can be viewed on all 284 media platforms. Well, moving on, viewers, to our final story, which is some regional news where Governor Albert Bryan has reportedly confirmed with VI Consortium that the USVI travel portal will be discontinued effective on the 1st of June 2022. While Dr. Ty Hunt Caesar, a USVI doctor and Department of Health infectious disease specialist, said the territory is, and I quote, entering into a state of endemicity where COVID-19 will be continuously prevalent throughout the territory and COVID levels will rise depending on the level of activity and variant circulating among the community. He continued, our current positivity rate is 15%. However, we are seeing a lower level of sickness in our hospitalized patients, adding, we began our transition out of the pandemic into endemicity with the relaxation of COVID-19 restrictions. So let's continue to work together and keep each other safe by doing our part, end quote. But the consortium says that a decision to discontinue the portal keeps in line with Governor Albert Bryan's comments earlier in March after lifting the indoor mask mandate. Well, viewers, that's all we have for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great evening. Goodbye.